What's up, guys? You know, I'm out here in Eugene, Oregon, outside of this Victor Rico's, and you're like, wait, Victor Rico's? I didn't even know what this was. I'm out here because there's a annular solar eclipse tomorrow. It's gonna pass through. It's gonna be cool. And my dad and I were hoping to catch it. So now we're here in Eugene, Oregon. I've never been here before. It's very interesting. So we're here at the Courtyard by Marriott. And what's awesome about the Courtyard by Marriott is that they actually have a courtyard. They live up to the name. You got this little lighted area with this one table. This is very intimate, very interesting. My dad and I are here in Crater Lake National Park. And when we went on this trip, I was expecting it to be like 60, 70 degrees. I have shorts on, but there's actual snow out here and it's cold. I was not expecting that. I should have known because the elevation's like 5,500 feet, but still. We got a bunch of people out here watching the annular solar eclipse. And the difference between annular and total solar eclipse is that the total solar eclipse, like the moon is closer to the earth, so it covers the entire sun. But the annular, it's kind of farther away, so it doesn't cover the entire sun, but it leaves a ring around it, or the ring of fire eclipse is what they call it. My dad and I had to go back to the car to get me a vest. It was cold.
Oh, there it is.
We've not been here for almost 2 hours. We caught glimpses of it. So we didn't use the glasses, which is cool. It's like there's a bunch of skies over there, so we might catch a glimpse of it. I don't know. You saw that? We waited it out basically the whole time. Like, you were able to see a lot of glimpses there, so that was good. Oh, there's a car. But standing in that cold, now I feel like the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, like trying to walk back. The sun finally came out of the cover of the clouds, so we were able to use the eclipse glasses, which is pretty cool. When we were walking back, there was a car went off road, and it was just driving through the snow. So we're at this place called the Pinnacles, and it's basically a series of like steam vents during like when ash would flow through here. We just walked past the park boundary, this US park boundary, and so now we're not in the park anymore. We asked a guy how far that trail outside the boundary went. He's like, I don't know, Mexico? Now we're on the Plaquemine Falls Trail, which goes down into that valley we were at earlier. Except this part has more water, I think, because there's a waterfall. I like these little rocks that create a barrier here. Pretty cool. We've been making our way around the lake, and it's been pretty interesting seeing all the different angles there are to offer. You'd think it'd just be kind of like one standard look would be enough, but every angle brings something different. It's crazy to think this water right here flows through that cavern with the pinnacles we saw earlier. There's some impressive rock formations over there. Really cool. We're here on the edge of this cliff, kinda trying to find a waterfall, but we don't know if we're going in the right direction. We hear the waterfall a little bit, but it's down there. We decided to turn around. Like, we saw these people in front of us and we were hoping that we'd see them go back soon, but like we never saw them ever come back. So we're just like, okay, we're not gonna take our chances this time. We're starting to think that this may be the waterfall here at the beginning of the trail. That may have been it, because people keep walking down here asking us, do you know where the waterfall is? And we're like, no. So it turns out the falls are right here on the side of the road. Everyone was driving in there trying to walk to it, but it was on the side of the road right here. We got Wizard Island back there. So apparently it was like a volcano that came from another volcano. The volcano in question is Mount Mazama, which is the volcano that used to be here. And it collapsed, which formed the crater. Since then, the crater is filled with water, which is why the water's so clear, if you notice down there. So these three mountains, you got Union Peak, Mount McLaughlin, and then Mount Shasta way out there. So that's California out there. That's pretty wild. It's part of the Cascade Range. Wow. So we've driven all the way around the trail now. We're on this Cleetwood Trail, which is like the quintessential trail to Crater Lake. It goes all the way down to the water, so now we gotta go all the way down there. So we're on our way down to the water, and it's cold up here. Like, we're all bundled up, but the people coming up all have like t-shirts on and like jackets unzipped. Like, that gives us a hint at how hard it is to come back up here. We're walking uphill now, and I'm kind of separated from my dad. It's getting hot. I'm starting to follow the lead of those people from earlier. My dad made a great point of how much perspective the huge lake gives, because like people worry about things that'll happen to the next like couple months, maybe a couple years. This thing
was formed 4,000 years ago, and the Cascade Mountains erupt once or twice a century. Like, that is crazy. Speaking of perspective, I think the whole cloudy eclipse was a great thing because every single glimpse we got of the eclipse, it was so exciting, you know? It really emphasized cherishing little moments where something special is happening, you know, because it makes you really appreciate it. I got up here to the top and I had to take my sweatshirt off. My dad gave me the keys to the car under the assumption that I would go ahead of him, but he's actually not that far behind. It took us 20 minutes to get down, and it took me 22 minutes to get back up. So it actually wasn't too bad, but it was definitely warm for sure. But yeah, we're heading out of Crater Lake now. Pretty amazing national park. I mean, it's a collapsed volcano with rain and snow runoff in it. So it just kind of sits there and it's like its own lake. There's no rivers that run to it. It does have a few creeks that run away, but it has no rivers that run to it. It just sits there. That's amazing. That's why it's so clear and the water's so blue. It's amazing. Here at the gate, there's a gate for Forest Service entering Umpqua National Forest, and it's the U.S. Department of Agriculture. But then if you go to the other side here, it says Crater Lake National Park, U.S. Department of the Interior. It's interesting that two things so similar are in different departments of the U.S. Last night we stayed at the Fairfield by Marriott, and unlike the Courtyard, there isn't really a fair field. I mean, I guess you could say this is a field, but Fairfield, they did have breakfast, but it was a little strange. Like, the Belgian waffles had like sugar on them, like crystal sugar. That was odd. I don't know what that's all about. I just saw a pretty big spider spinning a web over there. That spider is quite the architect. He goes up to the tree, down to the grass, over to the car, and he just keeps going back over and over. It's pretty wild. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed my dad and I's weekend adventure to Crater Lake. It was very interesting. I enjoyed it, and I really hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.